Hi, this is Lucid Stew, and I'm back for another Project Spark retrospective. I'm really excited today because I finally figured out how to record video while still being able to use my controller to play. As some of you may know, there's a bug between Project Spark and Windows 10 where controllers go wonky unless the window is deselected in the taskbar. This keeps you from playing Project Spark full screen in Windows 10 while using a controller. However, I just learned about the game bar and recording through that works beautifully, so on with the show. Today's retrospective subject is Cacophony. This is another game I created for the 10x40 CreationJam, only I finished it an hour after the submission deadline. This is the second iteration. I went back and cleaned it up because the original was an experiment in terrain and sound gone completely haywire. Cacophony is a very basic shooter involving shapes and colors reinforced by sound. The concept is designed to match the Xbox controller. This is based around another game I was working on in beta that was broken by pre-launch updates before I switched to Project Spark on PC. I continue a trend here where I forgo a formal tutorial and fold my brief explanation of how the game works directly into the gameplay. One thing you learn after publishing a few games is there is a balance between holding a player's hand and letting them learn the game themselves. You also learn that most people don't want to read manuals or tutorials, they want to jump right in and play. This type of tutorial works great, especially for simpler games that can be explained quickly in a mostly visual way. The two most interesting things I had to figure out here were how to get the projectile to discern shapes and colors, and also how to code the score multiplier. Each projectile and each enemy object has a shape variable and also a color variable. If those variables match on both, they destroy, and the score and multiplier are increased. If they don't match, the projectile destroys and the multiplier resets to 0. If the projectile hits nothing, it destroys off screen and the multiplier resets. If the enemy hits the player, the enemy destroys, player health and score decrease, and the multiplier resets to 0. Lastly, if the enemy passes the player and goes off screen to the left, it destroys, player health and score decrease, and the multiplier is reset. Here you can see one key to programming games and programming in general is to create conditions for all outcomes and to ensure that they don't overlap. While this game is extremely basic, it does a good job of explaining some fundamental video game concepts. Each projectile also has a unique sound to reinforce its identity, and also to ultimately help the player to not have to look at the controller, which is essential to a high score. As I fail to do that and die a horrible death with a mediocre score, I bid you farewell. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more in the future.